me bring in Daily Share contributor Jean-Pierre Regis and social media expert Kris Ruby now with us right now. Guys, you have to find this absolutely funny, but Nicki Minaj, she's actually feeling some type of way. When you started seeing all of this happening on social media, what was your first thought, Jean-Pierre?
I just didn't know what was going to happen. I thought Nicki Minaj's people, her fans, were going to go after Taylor. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not a big deal. It's an MTV VMA award, right? It's not the Grammy award. But Nicki Minaj makes an amazing point, and to put it in Taylor's court and say, you know what, Taylor, speak on this, because it is the truth, you know, puts Taylor in a really awkward position. I love battles like this. I just hope it doesn't become woman-on-woman battle, you know?
You know what, let's be real, okay? Regardless if it is the VMAs or it's the Grammys or it's the Billboard Awards, it's the American Music Awards. I was talking to a friend of mine in the industry earlier today. At the end of the day, it's a popularity contest, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is all it is. I mean, sorry, go ahead, Kris, but it is. It's all popularity, and I mean, really, other people have better videos than all of these people, but yet they're not popular and they're not getting the nom, so.
I think we really want to focus here on the real reason why people have traditional publicists, right? And I think a lot of times that's overlooked when these celebrities are getting involved in Twitter battles over whatever it is. There's no one really crafting their message if they're just reacting really quickly. So I think what's really important here is you want to have a proactive social media strategy versus a reactive one. I also think a lot of people just, you know, are passive aggressive on social media and also think everything's about them. And in this case, this tweet may not have been about her.
You know, I don't really think that the tweet was necessarily about Taylor Swift in general, and I actually have to disagree with you on that one, Kris. I actually personally like it when the artists go at it with each other on Twitter, because they don't have that publicist there to cast that net and save them, and it makes great conversation for us on this very day. But let's be real. They do it for the ratings. The people that are nominated for these award shows is because either A, they're going to be performing and they're going to win, or B, they're going to show up and win the award. That's usually the case here. Not that Nicki Minaj wasn't going to win an award, but the big awards like this is because they're trying to fill those seats with those A-list artists. Let us not forget, Beyonce is nominated in this category. Jean-Pierre.
Right, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, listen, I even thought, hey, this could have been a little stunt by MTV themselves. Because if you think about it, the artists win. People are going to be watching the Anaconda video to say, well, should it have been nominated? They're going to be watching the Bad Blood video for the same reason. And so these artists, they're getting money from all of these advertising views. I mean, they are winning, and people are going to tune in now to the VMAs to see, oh my God, will Nicki and Taylor talk on the red carpet? Of course they will. They'll make up, and everybody wins.
Now, I think it's going to be, actually, I'll see if, Nicki, you think she won't show up to the VMAs after all of this. What do you think?
I mean, she's totally going to show up, and they're going to have some sort of moment. It's all going to go down just fine. I'm excited to watch it. Got me tuning in.
Okay, let me move on to our next Daily Share panel right now. Daily Share contributors Jean-Pierre Regis and social media expert Kris Ruby. Now, Jean-Pierre, we have to say, Jon Stewart has always had such a great way of mixing serious issues with comedy, as seen here with the president. Of course, he's really going to be missed on television. What's going to happen, you think, when he steps down?
You know, who knows? I mean, that show is so successful. So the next host that comes in hopefully can really fill his shoes. But, you know, the president and Jon Stewart have a rapport. This is the third time, I believe, that he was actually on the show. And that the president just doesn't go around willy-nilly. But Jon Stewart is somebody who can really give it to a president. You know, ask the tough questions, but also make it funny. So they had a really special relationship. Who knows what Jon Stewart will do, but it'll be something quite amazing, I'm sure.
Right, and Kris, you know, Trevor Noah is the new guy taking over that big chair right there, but he's gotten himself into some trouble on Twitter in the past. What do you think we can expect from his takeover, and is he going to still stay in hot water?
I think he will definitely still stay in hot water, and I think what you really have to look at here, what's most interesting, I like that the president mentioned what's going on with Trump here on social media, or at least we can apply it that way, because you really have to not respond to every single comment that you see online, and I think the more Trump is doing that, the more hot water he's getting himself into. So I think that's a really good lesson learned for all of us here.
All right, now, guys, moving on to the next topic. It's been only 2 days since the divorce of country superstars Miranda Lambert and Blake Shelton was announced, and it seems Twitter is still mourning this divorce, all right? But it looks like the couple is also using Twitter to show off that they're moving on. So they actually took the time to remove each other's images of their former spouse, of course, on their Twitter pages and Instagram pages. And Blake Shelton broke his silence, finally, to all his followers by tweeting this out. Just got off the treadmill. This calls for a drink plus the B word. All right. In typical Blake fashion, he, cracks a joke rather than making any comments about him and Miranda. But it looks like it's back to business for him as usual, because he tweeted this out earlier today saying that he was back to work filming The Voice today. Wonder if I'm going to be the only one who rolls in with a full ice chest. I love it. Let's bring back Jean-Pierre Regis and Kris Ruby. Kris, I want to go to you first. What a stance there is right there to take down each other's pictures on your Twitter pages, your Instagram pages. First of all, that's really, really time-consuming.
I think it's time-consuming, but I think it's what you should be doing. I think social media in this digital age, if you're going to break up with someone, you should break up with them all of the way, right? So you want to make sure whether it's... I think so. I 100%
You can't erase the past. There's no way that you could, go... It's not like you disappear all of a sudden because you delete them off of Instagram and Twitter. Like, honestly, you could still Google those same pictures. That's kind of crazy.
There's got to be some sort of separation. You have to allow for that separation, and then at some point, maybe you could bring them back, or you could refriend each other or start following each other again, although I don't think they unfollowed each other yet. But I think they need to make that separation. I think it's the right move.
I love how we justify each other's moves on social media as whether we're seeing each other, we're not seeing each other, we broke up, we're angry. It's typical Carucci and Chris Brown, in my opinion. Jean-Pierre, what about him breaking his silence by cracking jokes for the first time? I mean, but that's Blake. That's what he does.
Yeah, exactly. He's a funny guy, and I think he just wants to move on, right? I mean, they've been going through troubles. At least rumors have said that they've been going through troubles for quite a while, and I think it's just time for him to keep it going. He obviously doesn't want to talk about it. It's a personal issue, and so I think it's all about deflecting, right? Like, let's make a joke of everything moving forward. I'm on The Voice. I have a new album coming out. I just want to talk about that. And about the social media thing really quickly, I just want to say I think it's all very dramatique, erasing people's photos. As you said, Roxy, it's all in the past. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Right. And I kind of understand what Kris is saying, but it's not like we don't know that y'all was married or you dated someone. I mean, I'm just saying. It's a little dramatic. All right, moving on to somebody who I just mentioned, Chris Brown. Well, he's being detained in the Philippines. The country is officially saying this. It's because a concert promoter there claims that Brown owes him money after the singer did not perform at a scheduled New Year's Eve concert back in 2004. So, Chris Brown was in the Philippines for a concert and was about to leave when he was detained. Now, officials say Brown can apply for clearance to leave the country while the issue is being resolved, but it looks like this is a mix-up that, usually has Chris Brown's name next to it, all right? He's already had to cancel his next shows because he's there. Hashtag Team Breezy Jakarta, due to safety concerns, my show on July 25th will be rescheduled. Let's keep spreading love around the world. Hashtag pray for peace. That's, once again, from Chris Brown. Real quick, Jean-Pierre Regis, he can't get a break.
Can't get a break. Weirdest thing, though, is the promoter a government official? How did he keep Chris Brown detained over money? It's the weirdest thing. I feel like he should be able to go and work out that thing separately. So bizarre.
Look,
poor Chris.
The way I feel, there's a lot of janky promoters out there that need to be detained for some janky stuff that they do out there. And I'm sure a lot of artists would agree with me right now. Kris, what do you think?
Listen, I think that we don't know the full story, and I think what we really have to take away from this is that stop looking at what celebrities are tweeting and start looking at their actions, right? So you have to start taking social media and putting it into context. So rather than just believing everything that someone writes or tweets, right, think about how do their actions align with that, and then maybe you'll know the story. That's my take on this.
I feel you, Kris, and I feel like I'm going to be calling you back a lot because I definitely think that when you first react on Twitter, that is initially how you feel and what you want to say during that topic or whatever's going on in the world. But that's how you feel. There's going to be no publicist to sugarcoat whatever you are supposed to say. All right, we're going to move on. I want to go to you. What about these Trump supporters jamming the phone line of Senator Graham's cell phone? This is after Trump gave out his personal phone number. What do you think about that?
I think he's got to be careful with doing things like that. I mean, he's going to make a lot of enemies with the way that he's tweeting and giving out phone numbers and everything else he's doing. But the truth is, Trump is being Trump. I mean, I didn't expect him to run any other way than exactly what he's doing. And I actually think that he's gotten as much exposure and brand recognition as he has because of his use of social media in all of this. So I just think he's got to be careful because he's one wrong tweet and someone is going to get really annoyed.
Well, and there is a video on YouTube right now. With us is Sean Pierre Regis and Kris Ruby, and of course HLN sports guy, Mr. Coy Wire. I'm going to start with you, Sean Pierre. I know you just finished talking about this whole Twitter beef between Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj with Roxy Diaz on the pop edition of The Daily Share. At this point in the Twitter beef war, do you think we're going to see a resolution soon?
I think what's going to happen is that Taylor Swift will have to come out and speak on it, as Nicki Minaj actually mentioned, and say, you know what, maybe this isn't fair. Maybe black artists are not getting the same due as white artists are. And Nicki Minaj does have a point. And I think why that's going to happen is because Taylor wins. She's the nice girl who kind of has this epiphany. And Nicki Minaj's point is made. I mean, we're at a point culturally where this conversation is just happening now. It would make sense for Taylor to step up and play ball.
Kris, do you think that this is a publicity stunt by the VMAs?
I actually don't. I can see how some people would think that, but I don't think it's a publicity stunt. I could be wrong on that, but I think what they're trying to bring up here is larger issues, and I think that's what Nicki Minaj was saying. Her point was that Taylor initially missed when she thought the tweet was about her. So I think they're two totally separate issues. However, maybe she was at a dual agenda, was trying to do both.
Quite possibly. Number 7, hashtag unexciting video games. More than 10,000 tweets about this one. Biz408 offered this. Legally acquired auto. I'm assuming that's against Grand Theft Auto. Hilarious. Definitely not as exciting as the mega popular game Grand Theft Auto. That's how he finishes the tweet. Hilarious. Number 6, Seth Curry. 50,000 Google searches using that name. ESPN reporting that Seth Curry is in talks with the Sacramento Kings. Reportedly, he's going to get a 2-year deal worth almost $2 million. Now, Seth's big brother, Steph Curry, who you know was the MVP of the NBA this last year, he tweeted, "Let's go." He's been patient and worked so hard to get here. S. Curry got his foot in the door. Now it's time to go. Love you, bro. Coy, I want to go to you on this one. What do you think this moment is like for Steph Curry to see his little brother shine too?
Unfathomable. You can't really understand it. I mean, I can't, as you didn't have a brother who played in professional football with me, but you look at some of the greatest brothers of all time in pro sports, even coaches, Jim and John Harbaugh, the legendary coaches. You have people like Eli and Peyton Manning, Mark and Pau Gasol in basketball. I even had a couple guys that I played with and against, Tiki and Rondé Barber and Thomas and Julius Jones, and how unique and rare it is when you have, and of course you have Serena and Venus Williams, who are just dominating the sport of tennis and have been for many, many years. It is truly special moment. When you see something like this happen, I can only imagine what they're feeling right now as a family.
Yeah, and the Curry family really couldn't be nicer. You're seeing pictures there of when Seth Curry played at Duke University. You know, he has had kind of a tough time transitioning to the NBA. It definitely hasn't been as easy for him as it was for his brother, Steph Curry. Not to say that it was totally easy for him, but he just won the championship. All right, after the break, we're bringing you the top 5. Still with me. Chattanooga is we keep experiencing this in this country, these mass shootings, and a lot of people are still talking about it because it is necessary that we keep this conversation going and that change occurs. Kris, what do you think are necessary steps that we need to take as a nation to keep the conversation going?
I think we still need to be talking about it. We can't sweep it under the rug. This is a really important topic, and you know, I think we should be using influencers in a way to be speaking about this stuff as well, more so than the other stuff that they're necessarily tweeting about, because as we've seen, they have the ability to sway opinion and to make change in public action. And wouldn't it be great if some of the celebs we're talking about were able to do that and use their following to be talking about this very topic?
Coy, what do you think this says about how people are perceiving the way the investigation is being handled in Chattanooga, since people are continuing to search it, continuing to share it?
Yeah, of course, Melissa. And as with any disaster like this, you always ask a couple of questions. Why? How could this happen? And the thing that I always try to figure out first is what, and that is what can we learn from this situation? Because sometimes there's no way to answer those questions, the why or the how, but the what in this. I was reading up about how the FBI found this man's diary, and they did not find any ties to ISIS. They did not see that he was influenced by the Islamic State at all, but they did find that he appeared to be deeply depressed. They did find that he was deeply in debt, that he had suicidal thoughts. And so to me, that tells me that we need to start looking at the people we can touch and who we have in our lives, and look for those sorts of signs and reach out when we can and help, so that maybe something like this might not happen.
Good idea, Coy, on what we can learn from this. #1 on the social index is Sandra Bland, video released of her arrest. Now, some people think that police have edited this video. Authorities say that it was a glitch. 41,000 tweets in the last day. This is a trending topic. The hashtag, say her name, and if I die in custody. Sean Pierre, what are you seeing with people using that hashtag on Twitter?
I mean, listen, there's been an outpouring of for Sandra Bland and her family. What you see in that dash cam video, it's very clear that the police officer did not exactly deal with her as he should have. He put her in handcuffs, and somehow she ended up on the floor. Her head was banged, though we don't see that. We hear her say that. And so, especially in the black community, but I think all communities, people are saying, listen, police officers, back up. Like, what are you doing? She should not be dead. She shouldn't have even been in jail. So it's a great conversation starter, and I hope it continues on.
All right, Sean Pierre, Kris, Coy, guys, thank you so much for joining us today, breaking down the social index. We appreciate it. All right, we are at the end here on The Daily Share.